The rain didn't stop for 3 days. Cold water fell on the streets of New York City. People walked fast, holding umbrellas, trying to stay dry. But Ethan Walker, 16 years old, had no umbrella. No home. No family. Just a worn-out backpack and a broken phone he couldn't fix. He sat near the entrance of a train station. His hoodie was wet, and his shoes had holes. He hugged his knees, trying to stay warm. Most people passed by without looking at him. Some stared. Some judged. No one helped. Until her. She walked by with a blue umbrella, soft steps, and a quiet presence. She wore a school jacket and carried a backpack. Her hair was tied back, and her eyes were kind. She stopped right in front of him. Ethan looked up, ready for the usual question, "Why are you here, or are you okay?" But she didn't ask anything. Instead, she held the umbrella over his head. "You look cold," she said. Ethan didn't speak. She knelt down and opened her backpack. She took out a granola bar, a bottle of water, and a folded towel. "I'm not here to bother you," she said. "Just thought you might need these." He reached out slowly. Took the granola bar. His hands were shaking. "Thanks," he whispered. She smiled and stood up. "My name's Emily," she said. "Maybe I'll see you again." Then she did something strange. She handed him the blue umbrella. "You need it more than I do." Before he could respond, she turned and walked away in the rain, getting soaked but not looking back. That night, Ethan sat under the umbrella near a closed diner. The towel helped. So did the snack. But more than anything, her kindness stayed with him. He repeated her name in his head. Emily. He had met a lot of people on the street. Some gave him coins. Some gave him advice. Most gave him nothing. But no one had ever given him an umbrella. The next day, she came back. Same time. Same station. This time, she sat next to him. She brought soup in a paper cup and a sandwich in a bag. "Hope you're still around," she said. "I brought lunch." Ethan looked at her, unsure. "Why are you doing this?" Emily shrugged. "Because I can. And because I think people forget how to be kind." She asked nothing about his past. No heavy questions. She just talked about her school, her favorite books, her dream to become a writer. Ethan listened, not saying much. But inside, he felt something shift. He didn't feel invisible. For the next few weeks, she came often. Not every day. But enough. Sometimes she brought food. Sometimes she brought books. Sometimes she just sat with him and talked. Ethan started talking back. He told her about his favorite tech shows, about how he loved fixing things, even without tools. "You ever fix your phone?" she asked once. He shook his head. "Don't have the right parts." The next time she came, she brought a small toolkit. "It's old, but maybe it helps." He couldn't believe it. That night, he fixed his phone. It still cracked, but it worked. He saved her name in it. Emily, the girl with the umbrella. One rainy evening, she gave him something different. Not food. Not tools. A notebook. "You said you like fixing things," she said. "I think you should start writing. Ideas, dreams, your story, anything." He took it with both hands. Blank pages. Clean lines. "I don't know what to write." "Start with this," she said. "If you could build anything, what would it be?" He opened the notebook that night and wrote for hours. He didn't stop. He wrote about a tiny phone shop he wanted to open. He wrote about a tech school he'd create one day. He wrote about a cafe that gave free food to people like him. And he wrote about her. She gave me her umbrella, and I don't even know why. But I think she sees something in me. Maybe I should start seeing it too. Then, one day, she stopped coming. No text. No letter. No goodbye. Ethan waited at the station for days. Then weeks. But she never returned. He thought maybe she changed schools. Maybe she moved. Maybe she realized he wasn't worth saving. The umbrella sat beside him every night. The notebook never left his bag. Her name stayed in his phone. But the number never worked again. Still, he kept writing. He kept building small things from trash. He fixed watches, phones, radios, anything that worked. He got a part-time job at a junk shop. He found a basement to sleep in. And he told himself one thing every day. If I ever make it, it'll be because a girl with a blue umbrella believed I could. 2 years had passed since the last time Ethan saw her. Emily. The girl with the blue umbrella. The only person who ever sat beside him without judgment. The one who made him believe his life could be something more. She vanished just like she appeared quietly. No goodbye. No message. Just, gone. Now Ethan was 18. He no longer slept on sidewalks or train benches. He had a room, a small one, in the back of a used electronics store. He worked there during the day and repaired phones and laptops at night. The shop owner, Mr. Hal, didn't talk much, but he liked Ethan's work. "You've got sharp hands, kid," he once said. "Smart mind too. Don't waste it." Ethan smiled at that. He didn't say much. But every night, he opened the same notebook Emily gave him. He filled it with business ideas, goals, and thoughts he was too scared to say out loud. He called it his someday book. One rainy evening, Ethan sat at the counter, watching the streets. A couple ran by under one umbrella, laughing. It reminded him of something. Know someone. He unlocked his phone. Her name was still saved. Emily, the girl with the umbrella. The number didn't work, but he never deleted it. He looked at the sky. Rain kept falling. Later that night, while scrolling through the news on his phone, he saw a headline. Local teen wakes from coma after 2 years. Emily Carter, 18, recovering after tragic accident. His heart stopped. He clicked the article. It showed her photo. Older. A little thinner. Still beautiful. The article said she had been in a car crash 2 years ago. Her parents died. She was in a coma ever since. That's why she disappeared. Ethan leaned back in shock. She never forgot him. She never left. She was just sleeping. He stayed up all night. He couldn't stop thinking about it. Should he visit her? Would she even remember him? The next day, he went to the hospital. He didn't go inside. He just stood across the street, watching the window. Then he saw her. Emily. She sat near the window in a wheelchair, staring outside. Her hair was shorter. Her face looked softer, more tired. But she was awake. She was real. Ethan took something from his bag. The notebook. The one she gave him. He wrapped it in a paper bag, wrote only 2 words on the front. For Emily. He walked inside, handed it to the nurse at the desk, and left without saying his name. Days passed. He heard nothing. Then, one night, while fixing a laptop, his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't pick up. But he did. Hello. Silence. Then a voice. Soft. Familiar. You still have the umbrella? His hands shook. Emily. Yes, she said. And I still remember that rainy day. Ethan closed his eyes. She remembered. They didn't meet right away. But they started texting. Every day. It was slow at first. She had trouble with her memory. Some days were hard. But his notebook helped. "I read everything you wrote," she said once. "You didn't just fix phones. You started fixing your life." He smiled at that. She told him about therapy, about her fears, about the loneliness of waking up in a world that moved on without her. He told her about the junk shop, the business he dreamed of, the nights he almost gave up. Their messages turned into letters. Real, handwritten letters. He mailed her pieces of his story. She mailed him back poems, thoughts, and memories she slowly began to recover. They weren't in love yet. But something was growing. Emily encouraged him to start again. "Your ideas are too good to stay in a notebook," she wrote. "Make one real." That pushed him. Ethan started his own side project. He called it Skyfix, a service for fixing electronics at low cost for people who couldn't afford big brands. He built a simple website. Printed flyers. Asked Mr. Hal to let him run it from the back of the shop. It was small, but it worked. He fixed broken things. And for the first time, people paid him with respect, not just money. One evening, he sent Emily a message. "I want to see you. In person. Can we meet?" She replied the next morning. "I'd love that." They picked a park, same place where she used to meet him. He arrived early. Nervous. Holding the blue umbrella she once gave him. He waited. And waited. But she didn't come. As the sun went down, he sat on the bench, umbrella beside him, and read her last letter again. "Sometimes I feel strong. But other days, I get scared. I want to meet you. I do. But part of me still feels broken." He didn't text her that night. Instead, he opened his notebook and wrote. "She's still finding her pieces. I'll wait. Just like she once waited for me." Ethan didn't hear from Emily for a few days after she didn't show up at the park. He didn't text. He didn't call. He didn't want to pressure her. Instead, he waited. Quietly. And then, one morning, a letter arrived at the shop. No name. No return address. Just his name written in soft handwriting. To Ethan. Inside, a short note. "I'm sorry I didn't come. I was standing there across the street. I saw you waiting with the umbrella. But my legs wouldn't move. I'm still trying to find the old me. The one who believed in people. The one who believed in herself." At the bottom, she wrote. "Please don't give up on me. Emily." Ethan sat down at the counter, the letter in his hands. He smiled. Then, he picked up his pen and wrote back. This became their new way of talking. Letters. Handwritten. Honest. Real. They mailed them through the shop, using small envelopes with no stamps. Mr. Hal let them use his outgoing box. Every few days, a new one would arrive. Emily wrote about her progress, therapy sessions, flashbacks, nightmares, and small victories. Ethan wrote about his growing business, the customers he met, and his fear that one day, she might leave again. One letter from her said, "I still don't remember every detail of before. But I remember you. I remember the way you looked the first time I saw you, wet, tired, quiet. But your eyes were still full of something." Ethan replied. "Hope. That's what you gave me. You didn't just hand me an umbrella, Emily. You handed me a reason to believe again." Their letters got longer. Deeper. More personal. They shared their dreams, their fears, their scars. Emily confessed she couldn't walk for long without pain. That she hated looking in mirrors because she didn't feel like the same person anymore. Ethan told her about his panic attacks. How sometimes, even in his new room, he still felt like he was back on the street, forgotten. They never judged each other. They just wrote. One day, Ethan mailed her something special. A printed flyer. It had a clean logo on top. Skyfix, smart repairs, kind prices. And below it, in bold text. Helping people by fixing what's broken. Phones. Laptops. Hope. He wrote. This is real now, Emily. I have 5 regular clients. One of them gave me cookies today. I told them about a girl who inspired the name. But I didn't say your name. That part's just for me. Emily's next letter arrived a week later. Inside the envelope wasn't just a letter. It was a photo. Her. Standing in her room. Hair in a loose ponytail. Holding the blue umbrella. Smiling. The letter said, I'm still scared. But when I read your words, I feel braver. So I took this today for you. Because if you're out there building from broken, then maybe I can too. That night, Ethan placed the photo on his wall, right above his desk. He looked at it every time he worked. Every time he felt tired. Every time he doubted himself. More good things started to happen. A local article featured Skyfix. A customer left a glowing review. An investor offered to help him grow. But none of it meant more than her letters. Then, one afternoon, a new envelope arrived. But this one was different. It had no letter. Just a small sticky note. I think I'm ready. Same place. Same time. I'll be there this time. His hands shook. He showed up at the park an hour early. The sun was low. The wind soft. He sat on the same bench, holding the blue umbrella she gave him years ago. Every passing person made his heart race. Then, he saw her. Slow steps. Careful. Nervous. But smiling. She walked across the grass, holding her own notebook close to her chest. She sat beside him. No words for a while. Just quiet. Finally, she looked at him. I didn't bring an umbrella this time, she whispered. He smiled. That's okay. I brought enough for both of us. They sat there for hours. Talking. Laughing. Tearing up. She gave him her notebook. Inside were letters she had written but never sent. About the day she first saw him. About the crash. About the fear of waking up in a world where nothing felt safe, except the thought of him. As the sun set, Ethan asked. What do we do now? She looked at the sky. I guess, we keep writing. He nodded. And keep building. Ethan and Emily began to meet more often. At first, only in quiet places: the park, the bookstore, a small cafe on the corner of 5th Street. They were careful. They were still healing. Emily walked slowly, sometimes with a cane. Her body still remembered the crash. Ethan talked gently. He didn't push. He let her set the pace. They didn't call it love. Not yet. But something was there. Real. Growing. Honest. One afternoon, they sat at a rooftop cafe. The city was loud below, but up there it felt still. Ethan pointed across the street. See that little office? Emily nodded. I'm going to rent that someday. That'll be the first real Skyfix shop. She smiled. You've come far. Ethan looked at her, then down at his hands. Not alone. That night, Emily wrote him a letter. You know, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I never stopped that day at the train station. Maybe we wouldn't be sitting here now. Or maybe we'd still find each other in some other way. Some people call that fate. I just call it, us. But even with sweet moments, the space between them wasn't always easy. Emily still had dark days. Days where the world felt too fast. Too loud. Too heavy. She sometimes pulled away. Didn't answer messages. Didn't return calls. Ethan tried not to take it personally. But it hurt. One evening, he sent her a voice note. "I don't need perfect, Emily. I just need real. Even if you're quiet, just, don't disappear." She replied 2 days later with just one line. "I'm not going anywhere. I'm just still finding my way." Meanwhile, Ethan's work life moved fast. Skyfix was no longer just a side hustle. He had clients calling every day. A small team. And finally enough money to rent that office. The day he signed the lease, he stood in the middle of the empty room and called her. "It's happening," he said. "It's really happening." Emily laughed through the phone. "Then let's make it official. Paint the walls blue." "Blue. For the umbrella," she said. They painted the walls together on a Saturday. Blue, just like she said. They laughed when they made a mess. Got quiet when they stopped to look around. The place felt like a beginning. Later, as they packed up, Ethan turned to her. "What if this is too much for you?" She looked at him. "Then I'll tell you. And you'll listen. That's what we do, right?" He nodded. "Yeah. That's what we do." But not every day was sweet. One weekend, Ethan worked late for 3 nights in a row. He missed her texts. Forgot to reply. She stopped coming to the shop. Then he got the message. "I think we're moving too fast. I still don't feel whole. And I don't want to break again." Ethan read the words over and over. He didn't call. He didn't chase. He gave her space. But it felt like he had lost her again. This time not to a coma or an accident. This time, it was fear. He went back to his room. Sat at his desk. And opened the old notebook, the one she gave him all those years ago. The first thing he had written was still there. "Build something that feels like home." He closed the book. Then opened a new page. And wrote. "Home is not a place. It's the one person who gave me an umbrella in the rain. And I'll wait however long it takes for her to come back." Weeks passed. He kept working. Built a second Skyfix location in another neighborhood. Hired 2 more people. He smiled in front of clients, but something inside him stayed quiet. The blue umbrella stayed by his desk. Untouched. Then one morning, a package arrived. No sender. Inside. A notebook. A photo of the train station bench. And a letter. He opened it slowly. "I've been writing too. Letters I never sent. Words I was too afraid to share. But I'm ready now. If you still are." At the bottom. "I'll be at the bench. Bring the umbrella." He didn't wait. He left the shop early, umbrella in hand, notebook in bag. When he reached the station, she was already there. This time, she didn't walk away. She stood up, smiled, and said, "Still building from broken?" He nodded. "Only with you." They sat side by side again. Like before. But this time it wasn't the beginning of something uncertain. It was the return of something true. They met again at the train station. Same bench. Same quiet corner of the city where everything first began. Emily stood in front of Ethan, holding her notebook close to her chest. She looked stronger now. Not perfect but whole in a new way. He held the old blue umbrella in his hands. It had a small tear now, but it still worked. They sat side by side. No rush. No noise. Just the soft sound of the city around them. "So," Ethan said, smiling, "you came back." Emily looked at him. "I never left completely. I just needed time to catch up to you." He shook his head gently. "I wasn't ahead. I was just standing still, waiting. They both laughed softly. Emily handed him her notebook. It was filled with unsent letters, poems, sketches, and thoughts she had never shared. "This is everything I couldn't say before," she said. Ethan held the book like it was something fragile. "Then I'll read every page." Slowly. Over the next few weeks, they spent more time together. Not chasing romance. Not trying to be perfect. Just being. Some days they worked in silence. Some days they talked about dreams. Some days they didn't talk at all, and that was okay. One evening, Ethan took her to his shop. The original Skyfix location. He pointed at the wall where her photo still hung, the one of her holding the umbrella. "That's the real founder," he said. She smiled, then turned serious. "You did this, Ethan. You built all of this. I just gave you a dry head for a day." "You gave me more than that," he replied. "You gave me belief. I ran with it, but the spark, that was you." A few months passed. Emily started volunteering at a local school, helping kids with reading. Ethan opened his third Skyfix location. One afternoon, he brought her to a small building on a quiet street. The door was painted blue. "What's this?" she asked. He unlocked the door and led her inside. A cozy space. Warm lights. 2 big windows. A shelf with books. And in the center, a sign that read, "The Blue Umbrella Cafe. Where stories begin." Emily froze. She looked around, eyes wide. Ethan walked to the counter and smiled. "It's ours. I bought it last month. It's a cafe, a reading space, a little library for anyone who feels lost. And it's named after the thing that changed everything." She walked toward him. Tears in her eyes. "This is beautiful." He looked down for a second, then back up at her. "I don't know where this all leads. I still have fears. I still have bad days. But every time I think of the life I want to build, I picture you in it." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, folded note. "This was the first thing I ever wrote in that notebook you gave me." He opened it and read, "Build something that feels like home." Then he looked into her eyes. "So I did. And I want to share it with you." Emily took a deep breath, stepped closer, and whispered, "I'm home." That night, they sat inside the cafe. Just the two of them. No crowds. No loud music. Just warmth, soft light, and old letters spread across a wooden table. Rain started to fall outside. Ethan reached under the counter and pulled out the blue umbrella, now framed behind glass. "Too fragile to use now," he said. "But it'll always be here." Emily smiled. "So will I." They didn't need to say "I love you" right away. Their story wasn't about fireworks or fairy tales. It was about survival, quiet love, and second chances. Two people who met in the rain, disappeared from each other's lives, and still found their way back. One umbrella. Two hearts. One home.